So today I'm going to talk about socialization. We can never talk enough about socialization in dogs. I don't have a PowerPoint today, so I'm just going to ramble on about whatever I have learned and experienced about socialization and dogs, how they are socialized, and what they actually need according to what I have experienced and I have learned. Oh, the reason why I'm talking about socialization today was that I was I was following this post on a Norwegian Facebook group for dogs, where they had a wild and very rude, actually, discussion about greeting other people's dogs when they're out walking their dog. So that discussion then went over to discussing if dogs are social and in what way they're social, how we need to socialize them. So again, an important topic. And I've written down some words so that I won't forget everything I'm planning to talk about. Okay. So dogs, they are social animals, just like humans. We're also social animals. In fact, it's a big part of why we are actually calling dogs our best friends. First of all, because dogs are curious by nature. They have to be curious. Think about it. A long time ago, thousands of years ago, when dogs were domesticated, obviously they have to be social by nature and also curious by nature, because they came closer to where humans were living. They say that it probably started by them scavenging closer to our settlements when we started having garbage, which kind of makes sense. So they're definitive social animals in such a way that we actually now are also talking about a concept or something called social pain. I'm just going to quickly touch onto that subject a little bit later, because it's quite new to me as well. But I've been watching a few webinars and courses from, now again, I can't remember his name, was that Franklin Miller, about the concept of social pain, which is very interesting. So they're social, but that does not necessarily mean that they want to be with everyone all the time. They're much like us, actually. And this is the thing. This is important to remember. Dogs do not automatically love all other dogs. They do not. Dogs are very much like human animals. Some other humans or dogs we do like a lot. They become our friends. And some we accept. We think they're okay. We can hang around with them. But it's not, it's not the greatest thing. You would prefer to be with your friends instead, maybe. And then some dogs, they just don't get on. And don't ask me why, because you need to ask the dog. And as a dog trainer, I quite often get this question. I want my dog to love everyone. Why doesn't he? And that's an easy answer. That's because they're just like us. Some they like, some they don't really like that much. But why your dog in particular is not liking another dog could be so many reasons. It could be that it looks like another dog that has bullied your dog or scared your dog before. It could be the smell of the dog. It could be the dog's behavior, his language. It could be that your dog is not socialized well enough with that other dog, which is maybe a very different breed, so it looks different. And it's more difficult for him to read his signals. There are numerous reasons, and it's individual. Dogs are what do you call it? Individuals? Yeah, dogs are individuals. So they do get on with some, and they don't get on with some. But it's important that they can be social with the dogs that they do get on with. But that doesn't have to be a bunch of other dogs. So it could be 1 or 2 or 3 closer friends that they like to be with, they enjoy being with. And the important thing here is socialization does not only mean playing. Really, it's not only playing at all. Dogs, they are social eaters, meaning that they enjoy eating together with other animals, other dogs. They also can chew with other dogs. It's to do these things together is being social for dogs. They're also social sleepers, meaning that they feel safer and they feel good sleeping, hanging around with their friends. Yeah. They're also social. They scavenge. They're scavengers. They go around looking for food. So doing that together and doing nose work together, searching for something together, is being social for dogs. So when people are, to me at least, talking about socializing their dogs, a lot of time they're talking about how they want to find other dogs to play with. And play is, of course, an important part of being social, but it's really not the only part. It's everything. And this summer or this fall, I attended one of Amber Batson's courses. And she, Dr. Amber Batson, she's a British veterinarian. And she claimed that ideally, every dog should be allowed to be with a dog friend every day, ideally. But that's, of course, difficult for us to do. So when people are asking how much socialization do they need, the answer is as much as possible, which means, again, that if you can do it once a week or even once a month, that's better than nothing. Okay, here is an interesting part, and I'm not going to share the link to this research because I couldn't find it before I went live, so you just need to trust me that on one of my when I attended Dr. Miller's course, he referred to a study done on, well, it's definitely not finished. I mean, this is just in the early beginnings, yeah. But some researchers are now looking into if dogs have become so used to us humans that they can actually be as happy having us as their closest friends as with other dogs. This is just an interesting thing to think about. This is not a fact, yeah? We don't know enough about it yet, but there is something they're looking more into, which makes it all very, very interesting, I think. When you look at dogs, street dogs, dogs that do not have an owner, they form into groups. However, some of these dogs, not all, but some of them are leaving the group when they are getting around a year, maybe even later sometimes. And they go on their own. They can be on their own for a while. They meet another dog or a couple of other dogs. They hang around with them for a while. And then they can go around on their own for a while and then form a group again, find some friends and form a group and so on. So remember also, dogs are not wolves, yeah? They don't necessarily stick to that same group their whole life. Okay. Even though they're social, it does not mean that they do not need alone time. Maybe you are a very social person. You love being with people and with your friends, but still you need some time by yourself. Well, that's what I'm claiming, at least, that there are very few people that like to hang around other people 24/7. So the same thing with dogs. So even though they're social animals, they can live together in a group. Maybe you have many dogs. You should provide places for them and allow them to go on their own and just be on their own for a little while, rest, sleep, whatever. Yeah. So this is what we do. Think about how much we decide on our dogs' lives. We take them to a dog park or a place where you meet other dogs. And then we take them off lead and say, let's go and play. You go and play now. And there's a lot of dogs that your dog don't know. That's not being social in the sense that we are talking socialization. Being social is being around your friends. Yeah. So in a place where there's a lot of dogs that your dog don't know, I would never let my dogs off leash there. I would not even take it to a place like that. I want my dogs to spend time with other dogs that they do know and I know that they like to be with. Because a lot of dogs are forced into being social even though they don't want to. And I'm sure you can agree that that's just not nice. So if you want to use a dog park, the best thing you can do is actually to take one or two other dog friends of your dog and have the whole dog park to yourself for an hour or so. And if they want to play, they play. If they want to sleep, they sleep. If they want to do some search games or whatever they want to do, grooming each other, laying next to each other. I'm sure that you've observed a lot of dogs, and you see that taking care and grooming each other is also a part of bonding and socialization. So taking your dog over to your dog friend and hopefully your own friend as well, having your dogs just hanging out together. Yeah, that's good socialization, just hanging out together. Also, when it comes to walking, go for walks on lead. I think it's not done enough actually to go walking with your dog and other dog friends on lead, because that's clearly what a lot of dogs and we need practicing because we have a lot of issues with dogs not um, uh, being very good at walking together with other dogs on lead. And that's also being social. So you can go walking with your dogs on lead, and then you can take them off leash in your garden when you get home, for example. A lot of people have this idea that when they're going to socialize their dog, they make a big deal out of it. You know, they set the time they're going to be in this dog park or in a place, or they have to find a place where they can be off leash, which is of course always the best. Okay, that's my opinion. That's always the best, but that's, you know, not working in our society. They have to be on leash quite a lot. But just walking around in your streets or in your neighborhood and then go home and borrow each other's gardens, go to other people's places. Maybe you have people with no dogs, but they have a nice garden with a nice fence. You can ask them if you could please, you know, borrow their garden so you can let your dogs sniff around a different garden. Okay, so about this social pain, which I promised to talk about as well. It's all about dogs being so social. So if they're excluded from their group or their family or other dogs or human animals that they enjoy being with, it's painful. It feels the same as physical pain. Of course, not in the same way, but I've talked about this before as well. It's having a heartache, you know, or if someone dies, that's pain. and the dogs can feel the same thing. They did MRs, and they know how the brain is working. They know how the neurons are working and forming and forming their own paths and so on. And it's the same in dogs. So being so social also means that a dog can grieve. Yeah, it can be very sad if it loses a friend, a human friend or a dog friend. And being excluded also includes having your dog in a different room, or even maybe in a cage, in a crate, not being allowed to come close to us. That could be a form of exclusion. So, do you have any comments? Do you have any thoughts of this? Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about this today was because I read this other post in the Norwegian dog Facebook page. And they were discussing if dogs were socializing on their walks when they were greeting other dogs. And the thing is that they, unless they know the other dog and like the other dog, it's not any kind of socialization in the good sense. When we are walking alone without a dog on the street, you don't go around greeting everyone. Hi, hi. You don't go and give them a high five or a hug or unless you have a reason for that. So you don't go around, I think most of us don't, go around inviting strangers for coffee. Yeah. And that you can compare that to having your dogs greeting other dogs they don't know on a walk. It has no purpose. That's what it is. It has no purpose when it comes to socialization. That said, I really believe that we need to train our dogs. We need to help our dogs being around other dogs that don't know. So, because they need to learn how to pass other dogs nicely without reacting or being scared or desperately wanting to go and play with them. A lot of these dogs that are desperate in playing with other dogs, they want to greet other dogs. A lot of them are teenagers. They're young dogs, and they just enjoy playing and having fun, and they want to, and they're curious. And what was I saying? Yeah, a lot of these dogs, if you look at their everyday life, they're not spending a lot of time with other dogs. So that could be part of the reason, a big part or a small part, yeah, of why they are so interested in greeting every dog they meet when they go for a walk. Or it could be a learned behavior, yeah. So teaching your dog how to pass other dogs on their walk is a good thing. But to have your dog, or really to force your dog more or less to greet dogs they don't know, that's not nice. And to greet other dogs doesn't have any purpose, really. What is good socialization is that your dog spend time hanging around, eating, sleeping, drinking, chewing, playing, walking with a number of friends. It could be one friend. One friend. It doesn't have to be a lot of friends. One friend is better than no friends. And to be able to know that, how your dog likes other dogs, you need to know the calming signals as well, because a lot of our understanding when we observe dogs are based on old or not correct information. So you need to know that. But what do you think? If you have a big family, brothers and sisters, it's you are socialized. Yeah, you're not by yourself. However, it's never a problem to have more friends. That's how I look at it. If so, either way, the question is maybe if you should spend time finding other dog friends when you have multi-dog household, if you have several dogs. Again, it doesn't hurt. And I always say to people that even though you have several dogs, your dogs, and from their puppy, you need to socialize that puppy with other dogs, different breeds and so on, because you're still going to be out there, not only home. So yeah. So I have where I moved now, I don't have he's not living close to me now, but when I lived in the south, I have a friend with also multiple dog households, so we could visit each other with our dogs. Yeah, so they were dog friends. Yeah, so having friends is always important, no matter the age. So to sum up, dogs are very social animals, but being social means being with other friends that you enjoy being with. Yeah, it's not being social to be hung around with a bunch of people you don't like. Then you just want to go home and be by yourself. But still, also remember to let your dogs have the choice on when he or she wants to be social or not, and have the choice to withdraw and go by him or herself and sleep or rest or chew or whatever he or she wants to do. So choice, again, if you've been listening to me before, you know that I love the idea of giving the dogs more choices. And even walking online, not online, but on leash with a few other dog friends is better than not being with other dog friends. Yeah. So, and even though you don't see your friends as often, and especially in these times, most of us don't see the people we want to see as often as we wanted to see them. But we still have use and good of meeting them, even though it's not very often. About greeting other dogs when you go walking with your dog on leash. If it is a dog you don't know, you don't have to greet them. Yeah, it doesn't serve any purpose. If you're close and your dogs are greeting each other on leash, that's not a problem, as long as these two dogs thinks it's okay to greet. Yeah, it's not a problem. And if you meet another dog and they greet and they want to play, then you have a problem if you can't let them off leash, because that's not a very nice way to end it by not having the ability to play if you're walking along a street or something. So yeah, if there are two dogs that have not met each other before, and if you're not sure if they like each other, then it's okay to start the meeting with walking with a good, nice distance on lead, and then let them off leash. Yeah. But in general, having dogs walking, meeting with off leash, that's how I actually did it when I introduced new dogs to my other dogs. When I got a new dogs in my family, I always, because I was only one person, so I couldn't walk on each side of the road at the same time. So first of all, I let them greet one dog. I had at the most, I had 8 dogs. But so when I introduced a new dog, I would take the dog home and I would let one by one dog greet the new dog, not all of them at once. And then once they have met each other, I would always go for a walk immediately off lead. But that's why I live really in the woods. so I could do those things. Yeah. In my experience, all dogs are not getting grumpier. They do get grumpier if they're in pain, or like my not youngest but oldest now, he's 14 and he doesn't see very well anymore, so he barks more easily and is more hesitant to meet new dogs and people. Yeah. So the reason why some dogs, when they get older, can be grumpy is because of it's health issues. It's not in a general, getting old means getting grumpy. So it depends. Thank you very much for watching. This is a very interesting subject, I think, an important one. And have a nice week. Take care of yourself and the dogs, and try to be somewhat social. Okay, bye.